Okay, so thank you for joining me today. I just literally wanted to talk to some of our customers that have
Yep.
purchased a couple of times. And don't mind that. Just let them be. Let them be. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, I just wanted to hear about your experience with surf paints and where you're from and what's your kind of story.
Yeah, so I'm from Nowra in New South Wales, so down on the south coast.
Yep.
Basically, I was trying to find a paint pen, so I was moving away from traditional paints. It's a bit hard for me to set those things up when I've got little ones because they love to get their fingers in the paint pots and spread
Yeah,
it through
yeah.
my house. So I needed something that was going to have a good pigmentation, good coverage, good flow that wasn't going to basically spew paint all over because I do a lot of finer work. So I need something that's going to give me that kind of consistent flow as well. So I've gotten a couple of different pens and they just sucked. Um, and especially with like how everything is right now, you don't want to be spending $1 million on trying to find something that's not absolute garbage to work with. So I had a look on your site a couple times. I always look at the worst reviews because generally you get a good gauge from not the best from the worst. And like honestly, the worst weren't that bad. So I was like, oh, they look pretty good.
Yeah.
Gave them a try. I think I ended up just getting the starter kit because I was like, oh, I'll get a few more because they look like they're going to be pretty good from what I've seen of people using them, from what I've seen of the reviews. I know I love them. I bought the whole set now. So
Oh, fantastic. Um, and I will quiz you on that. You said some brands sucked. So
yeah.
what was it exact with those brands they weren't doing it, what surf paints can do for you?
So straight away, it was constantly trying to keep the pen flowing paint into the nib.
Yes.
It was constantly trying to push it down, and then you push it down, it just spews it everywhere. Or the white was so transparent that I have to go over it 2 or 3 times, which I don't want to have to do. Like I want a nice solid pigment that I can just go in one glide, like, all right, sweet. I don't have to keep going over my work to get it to actually stay down.
Perfect. So it was just kind of more consistent flow from surf paints compared to a bit weak and watery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. And what type of art do you do? Like, are you a paid artist, or do you do this as a hobby, or what surfaces do you work with? What's your story?
Uh, I'm a I'm a bit of everything. I dabble in a lot. I've done visual arts at university. I was starting a career as an artist. Unfortunately, it doesn't pay the bills when you're first starting, so you get a job. And in between that, I had kids, so it kind of all slowed down a bit. I went back into fiber arts as I started back into my art journey. So I do a lot of basket weaving, but I did a lot of painting prior to that while I was at university and at school. So I wanted to delve back into that, but again, quite hard with little ones. So I was looking for something that would enable me to draw and paint, but be a little bit more convenient, that I can still get really good results with. So I work a lot with natural fibers, wood. At the moment, I'm just going back to a canvas so I can have more of a structured kind of feel to my work, um, to try and basically hone in where I want to go with my direction. But I look at the natural world, the color palettes around us. Um, so it was important for me to find something with some beautiful, vibrant colors like what you see on down here on you're up in Sydney, so you know the beautiful sunsets we get through the winter with all those beautiful colors, and nothing quite had that color range or that high pigmentation that I needed to achieve that.
Awesome. Awesome. So hobby? Are you doing it as a hobby then?
Um, it's at the moment I'm trying to take it into me being a professional artist, but
Perfect.
it's a little bit of a journey to get there. So I'd say amateur artist.
Yeah. So every time you use surf paints on your artworks, it's just for the love of it and just um, because that's your passion, and then you're just getting through raising up kids and maybe gonna go that way.
Yeah, like I've done a few exhibitions, so I've just joined a local artist collective to help with that, which
Oh,
is so great to have other artists supporting you, and we can all kind of give each other tips and help ourselves build
which
where we
one?
want to
Which
be
one
as
is that?
leaders. They're against the tide.
Against the Tide.
So a lot of it's all stuff that you're not going to generally see in art galleries. It's a more eclectic group and it's a really wide group, which is nice.
Yep.
And it gives us that ability where you can spend hundreds of dollars trying to exhibit somewhere we all put in and we can get a space that we can all sort of afford while we're building ourselves up.
And you mentioned it's convenient. Do you still use brushes, or have you found that you can do everything with a paint pen now?
The only time I would use the brush if I'm laying down my back color. So I'll lay down a back color just with some acrylic and then I'll do all of my work over the top with the paint pens.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, that's awesome. And where did you first hear about surf paints? You mentioned it at the start of the video, but what was it an ad? Was it word of mouth? How did you first hear about us?
I think I saw you guys on Facebook pop up and then I had a look a few times and I was like, oh, do I want to try? I don't know. I'll just leave it and see where it goes. I
Yep.
went back a couple of times and had a look. And then you obviously do your bit of research, like price comparison, like you were a little bit dearer, but your reviews weren't were much better than what other brands looked. Like your worst reviews again. That's what I go by, worst.
That's good.
Um, and especially the reversible nib, which is handy for me because I do like that finer, that option to go a bit finer when I need to, rather
Yes.
than buying like several sets, which is not economical at all. So taking into account all those sort of things is kind of what brought me over.
We got the black and white and the fine now.
Yeah, I just got them
Oh, did you?
2 days
Oh,
ago. Yeah, just
oh,
ordered them.
fantastic. Fantastic. So hopefully they go all right and they fit that little gap. Um,
Yeah, definitely. Oops, what's going
that's
on with it?
awesome. This is a good review because it's you're really answering around why what we hear a lot. The other question you brought up was so going back to the price point. You are right. There's a lot of cheap paints out there. There's a lot that are the same as surf paints, and there's some that are more. But how important is quality over price for you? Because like we all fall into the trap of wanting to get the cheapest thing just to get the job done. But why were you able to pay a little bit more of a premium for surf paints than the cheap Kmart, Temu, Amazon, or wherever you can get cheaper supplies from? Like why are you doing that?
I know from doing art for long enough that you get what you pay for. You buy a crap paint, you're going to get a crap finish. You buy crap surfaces to use, you're going to get a crap finish. It's just the price you have to pay. You're saving yourself money in the long run by having to not replace things as frequently, not having to go over. If I'm going to have to go over that same surface 3 times with a cheaper pen and still not get the finish I want, then I've just wasted my money.
Perfect.
And it's realistically the price isn't that much more to even kind of dwell on it too much.
Yeah.
Like in taking in the consideration the longevity of the pen, the fact that I don't have to buy all these different pens to do the one artwork. I've just got them all in that one set that I can just work with.
And we do get some people concerned about ordering online, but I think these are a bit more of the older clients. Did you have any hesitations? You told me that you read the reviews, which was your kind of investigation, but were you a bit nervous ordering online at Surf Paints?
No, like for me, it's a nightmare to get out of the house, so I prefer ordering online.
Yes.
Um, Much easier. It was super straightforward. The site's really easy to use, like no dramas.
Perfect. And then what type of other art supplies do you use? Because we're trying to implement new products and we're coming out with new sizes, new colors. But we want to hear from people like yourself. What's something that you use every day in your little art studio?
Um, Trying to even think. Yeah, I really cut it right back. So I'm pretty basic at this point. It's just my surfaces, my mediums, and the odd pair of scissors. Um,
So
I do find it can be a bit difficult to find a nice canvas, like a nice premium canvas. Obviously, you can get them at Kmart and everything, but they're not best. Obviously, I know frames wouldn't be super economical for you to be mailing, but even just rolls of canvas, because there's plenty of places that you can get these sort of things stretched out if I were to want to put it onto a frame. Um, but yeah, I can't really think of anything else.
so how do you
The only other thing is maybe a matte sealer, because the pens do have a matte finish. So I know that I've got the gloss, but sometimes I like to just knock it back to a satin or a matte just to take that glare off, especially if I'm doing artworks that are going in interiors. You generally don't want anything high shine.
do you use R1 we sold, or what one are you using at the moment?
Yeah, I've got the one you guys sell, and I think it's just a can of the Dulux matte clear coat from Bunnings.
They're good. Yeah. Have you ever used bottled varnish before?
Yeah, I find it smears the paints a little bit on the canvas anyway.
Mm.
So I try to just use the spray as opposed to that to try and limit the movement of the paint.
Yeah, that's what we've found, unfortunately. Like we want to sell a bottle and we get a lot of requests. And yeah, it just can smear the paint or reactivate it unless you know what you're doing. You need a
Yeah,
real fine, gentle brush, and you need to let it set for at least 24, 48 hours. It's just a bit of a process. Whereas if you get a spray, it's really simple and easy. But the problem with the sprays is it's a dangerous good. So it's quite
yeah.
hard to ship. Um, but we're working on maybe reducing the size of it and reducing the cost of it, so it's a bit more convenient. Um,
Yeah.
you've been really good and pretty much answered all the questions without me asking. Just let me have a little quick browse. So we've talked about other brands, and you can
Yeah.
tell the difference in surf paints and other brands. Mainly frustrations include watery. Um, you have to go over 3 times. They can ruin your work. You've been around the field for a while that you're willing to pay the extra $5, $10 or whatever it is. It's not much in scheme of things for a better quality paint. And that's why you're happy with surf paints. We've talked a little bit about what you do, about being a mum and now like getting back into it, and then it's just going to come with course. You've told me some great products. I suppose the last question I would want to hear, and a lot of these people are going to see this on YouTube and they just want to see like a real human being talking about the product, is if someone was sitting on the fence, they'd seen Surf Paint's ads, they've gone to our website about 3 times, they've read the reviews, what would you tell them if they want to try, but they think what we say we are is false?
I think the best kind of thing to get you over the line is to, if you're kind of hesitating, just get that smaller pack that you know you're going to use. It's not something like, oh, I might use it, I might not use it. So get those base colors and just give it a try, and because you can't really make a decision until you properly tried it. Oh, actually, they are that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. I'll just stop the recording.